Good evening, everyone. Ashley Banfield here. Thank you for joining. Just sit tight and wait for a few people to join. I can see them sitting in the waiting room, so we'll wait for them to come in and then we can get started. Excellent. Okay. Now, for those joining now and for those already in, please use the chat box to ask any questions throughout the presentation. I will wait until the end to actually answer the questions so that we get through all of the content tonight. There's a lot of content to get through, so bear with me and we shall get these answered by the end. Okay, so we're going to share a presentation with you, but we're not going to bore you with PowerPoint, so to speak. We want to make sure that you go away from this evening actually learning something. So let's just, there's a couple of people asking questions already. Yeah, no problem. That's good. Yeah. Okay, welcome. Thank you for the wishes. Yes, I'm looking forward to it as well. Very good. Excellent. Okay. So I think what we can do now is, I think we can get started. Let's just do this one. Over here. Yeah. Okay. There we go. Right, we're on. So that you can see that I'm real, I will say hello on the video. Hello. So I'm Ashley Banfield. We're going to share a presentation. It's all about service accommodation using rent to rent, which is, I guess, using properties that you don't have to own. And this is fantastic if you don't have the income or don't have the portfolio to be able to create this income that you can, and you can create a passive income. So it's like a residual income that we're getting here. One of the hardest things that entrepreneurs have to live with on a daily, weekly, or monthly case is, where is the income going to come from? Now, if you're working, you know that you're getting a couple of grand or $5,000 or $6,000 or whatever it is per month. So you know that it's going to be paid into your bank account each and every month, the 1st or the 28th or the 30th or whatever it is of each month. So you've got that stability, if you like. It takes away the worry of not having money. But the problem is, when you're working for a living, you're always worrying about money because you never have enough, because you spend what you earn. And if you've got a Ford Fiesta and you get a pay rise, you might think, okay, I can afford a BMW now. And then you buy the BMW, and then the boss says, things aren't so good at the moment, we're going to have to make some redundancies, etc., etc., etc. So the thing that I'm saying here is that having your own business and being an entrepreneur, some people think it sounds a bit daunting, but it's absolutely amazing. So today, I've been doing stuff with my boy. He's getting ready for starting school next week. It's his first day of school next week. So we've been doing those obligatory trips, the big trip before he goes to school and this type of thing. My parents are over from Australia, so we've been doing lots of stuff with them, as well as obviously running our businesses as well. We've got a few different businesses. But the good thing is that all of our businesses, except for the training one, we don't actually have to be there. So it can be a nice residual income. So when we go on holiday, we get paid. And this is one of those businesses here. And it's such a good business because it's so easy to start, so easy to ramp up. And you can get income within, your first couple of months. Because of a lot of businesses, if you understand how company tax works and that type of thing, and dividends, you can't actually pay yourself a dividend until you're making a profit. So with this business, we make a profit very, very quickly. if you follow the rules and the templates and the framework that you're going to learn tonight. So let's get started. So you've seen enough of me there, I think. We'll share the presentation now, and we'll get started. There we go. So you should be able to see that on your screen. Just give me a little yes in the chat box that you can obviously hear me and see me. That'll be fantastic. Excellent. Thank you. Okay. Good. So service accommodation, this is the beginner's framework. We've been doing service accommodation for quite some time now, and we've got particular areas that we work in, and there are niche areas within that area. So we have a compact area. It's a town, if you like, or a big city, but we don't work that entire city. So we'll cover that as we go anyway. So I've been in property now since 2006 in the UK. I've been a mentor and teaching people for about the last 3.5 years. It's a lot of fun. Yes, it's a lot of work, and it doesn't give us that passive income. What gives us the passive income is businesses like this. We also own children's nurseries and that type of thing as well. So there are things that we don't have to be at because we can have other people manage them. And this is exactly what you can do as well. So it's a fantastic business. So again, thank you for attending. Please stay to the end. We've got some different offers that we can offer you, some free. And so please, if you're really interested in what we've got to say, it might be worth your while to stay to the end. So here's a photo of myself at my house, and my house is not the shed behind, by the way, and a gentleman called Harvey. Harvey came to me about 5 months ago and said, look, I need to get started with property income. I don't want to use my own properties because I don't want to go and buy properties because I'm actually moving abroad. So he now moves abroad in November, a long way away as well, a country that I know quite well. So we went through we had a one-to-one at my house. I mentor Harvey. And we went through his spreadsheet with his lovely wife, Serena, who's obviously, they're a joint effort in what they're doing here. And he said, look, can I show you the spreadsheet to show you where we're at? And he's got 3 properties. That's 3 properties. And I had a look, and he said, look, our profit for the month is £5,641. That's fantastic. That's brilliant. From 3 properties over 5 months. Now, this is residual income that they've created here. And they're now talking about, they've got the freedom to travel and the freedom to move when they move because they're taking their 3 lovely kids with them. But he wanted to build up an income here that will cover him before he goes. So he's still got, what are we now, September? We've still got a couple of months more revenue to go, and he can start growing that as well even more. He's now found himself another person who will now manage these, and I'll take a percentage of that. For managing, and that could be anywhere between 15 and 20%. It could be lower, it could be 10%. It depends on what you negotiate and how much work they're going to be doing. Obviously, in this case, it'll be closer to the 20% because they'll be doing all the work, and they can control this from their laptop anywhere in the world, and including where they're moving to. So this is an awesome effort. Now, some people may say, well, hang on a minute, that's not a lot of money. Well, it is. It's over 60-odd thousand pounds a year. Now, the average wage, I think, is 28,000, or in London, they say to me, you've got to earn at least 40,000 to survive in London. That's without saving any money. So this is a lot of money, and he's created this business within 5 months, and it's profitable. So it means that you can pay yourself dividends. So well done, Harvey. So we'll come up with a couple more of those later, different students, etc. So a little bit about me. I've been investing in property now since 2006. I started what we call rent to rent, which is taking properties that you don't own, you're renting them, then you're renting them out again. And in this case, we're obviously doing the serviced accommodation as well. So my income is slightly higher than that now per month from properties, and it does fluctuate a little bit. Sometimes it goes up a lot higher because we have the summer periods where we get the much higher occupancy rates and the much higher rates, obviously, for a service accommodation. Those months sort of in May, June, July, and that type of thing, and dipping into August. So I started out the very hard way. I got thousands and thousands of no's, and I learned to overcome these type of objections. And then when I started back in 2013 with Rent to Rent, it was really hard because nobody really knew what this was all about. Now I talk to agents on a daily basis, and yeah, let's do it. That's fine. I get emails, say, Ash, we didn't have any properties last month. We've got properties now. Can you come in? And at the moment, it's a good time to get started because there's an influx of properties coming in because people are sort of on the move again. Don't want to be moving at Christmas time. So now's a perfect time. I've got many students now who are super successful. Harvey's just one of them. I've got people on much more income as well than what we have there, and some people on less as well. So you can make a lot of money from service accommodation. It just depends on what your actual targets are and what your goals are for making the money. And I also control many properties as well. Excuse me, my dog is barking. We control multiple properties as well. And these are commercials, these are HMOs, single buy-to-lets as well, etc. So enough about me. This is all about you today. So what we find with a lot of students that we take on is that they have a lot of what we call information overload. They also have what we call strategy frustration. So they're given, excuse me. Okay, we're back. Sorry about that interruption. That's what you get for living in the countryside. So yeah, we talk about strategy frustration as well. So a lot of people come into property and they think to themselves, okay, let's go and do flips. Let's go and do commercial to resi. Let's go and do resi commercial, whatever it might be. And there are two types of strategies really that you need to have in place. They're not necessarily service accommodation, not necessarily doing flips or that type of thing. What you need is two things. You need what we call a short game and you need a long game. So the short game is where you get your income, where you have to create that income so that you can go on to do other things, the bigger things, and play the long game, if you like. Too many people come into property and they play the long game from the outset. So what I mean is it might take them a year or 18 months or even 2 years or sometimes longer to find an actual deal that will work. And then if they spend a year finding a deal, it may then take another year or a year and a half to complete that deal. So it's 2.5 years, and they're trying to do this whilst they work as well in a day job. And we find that people trying to do that, they kind of lose that persistence, they lose the hunger because nothing really happens, and it's too far away for them to see that, yes, I'm going to make a change. It's very hard to stay motivated for that long without actually getting anything. They don't care who you are. It's very, very hard to do that. So if you can get into property in the short game and learn all about property, because you learn a lot more about it when you're actually doing it, and you can have the cash flow coming in like Harvey, and you don't have to worry about actually having to go to work, because you're working in property full time, you understand property, and it's much more less overwhelming, if you like. And I've got there, lots of people, they come to me, they're very overwhelmed. Like, I don't know what to do. What do I do? I'm very frustrated. And they hear so many different stories from so many different people trying to flog them this, guru that. And the guru thing is just about, running a training company to get all the money in. So what we want to do, we want to try and help you avoid all the big stories, etc., and that type of thing. We tell you exactly how it is. We'll give you the good, the bad, and the ugly, and sometimes also the very good and very ugly. And one of the other problems is that people don't take action. And I can understand that people not taking action, because if you're playing the long game, it's very hard to keep going. Very, very hard. I know, I've done it. This is why we went to the short game, and now we build the long game. We have much more freedom. So the serviced accommodation or service apartment industry has grown a lot in the last 2 years alone. It's been a steady increase for the last 10 years upwards, but it's in the last 2 years we've seen quite a big difference in the amount of people out there, guests actually adopting to actually use service accommodation as opposed to hotel. There's many reasons why. We'll go through those in a minute. But there's more travelers, businesses as well, leisure, etc. Now, remember those two things. Leisure and business, remember those because they're very important. We'll cover those a bit later. And you got to they recognize the benefits of the sector because it's forever changing. 3-4 years ago, you could have got service accommodation or found a property on Airbnb or Booking.com, and they're not looking so flash. Now it's at the stage where we're getting more and more competitive with the hotels, if you like. So the hotels are trying to get nicer or smarter. Then they come up with different ideas like the easy hotels and this type of thing. But with us, we just find that we're having to tweak little things here and there, adding technology, things like Amazon Echo or Amazon Dot. And it's not to increase your bookings, if you like. It's to make sure that you maintain your steady business. So tech is not just about trying to improve your business, it's also maintaining your business, keeping you at a steady flow, a steady rate. So the benefits, as we just said, of service accommodation to you. So enormous cash flow. If you do this right, you will get increased cash flow hand over fist. If you get the right area, you will make thousands of pounds per month in profit and income. Now, the other benefits to you are residual income, so you don't have to go to work anymore if you don't want to do that. Not everyone who comes to us wants to give up work. Some people who come to us say, look, I've got some money, can I invest in your students? Go, no problem. Okay, so what they want to do is they want to actually be the investor, not the time person. So there's time and money. And then there's other people who come to us, which is a majority of people who don't actually have a lot of money. And that's the reason they're coming to us, because they want to earn a lot more money and they want to actually give up their day job because they hate their day job. They're not earning the money they think that they do, or they're not earning what they think they're worth. So they're not getting the actual value that they deserve. So there's loads more benefits of service accommodation to us. We don't have to own our properties, etc. The benefits to the actual guest is that they get much more freedom, they get much more space. The experience, again, remember that word, experience. The experience is much better. They can take their kids along with them. They can be all under the same roof. They don't have to pay double the money for another room, etc., and that type of thing. So, some of our apartments, we can get 6 and 8 people in them, and they all sleep comfortably in their own bed. So, as I said here, we use other people's properties. Using other people's properties is called rent to rent. So we'll take a property, and if it's you, I'll come to you as the landlord and I'll say, look, can we take your property on? This is what we do. And we'll come up and tell you what we say to landlords. And they might say, it's not really my type of thing. But then somebody else might say, you know what? I really like the sound of that because you're giving me guaranteed rent. You're paying it. You're fully maintaining the property. It's absolutely brilliant. That's what every landlord wants. So then we say, okay, well, let's do a deal. And we want 3 years. We don't really want any shorter than that. We can put in break clauses every 6 months because sometimes landlords like that because they're not sure what they'll be doing in 2 or 3 years with the property. But once they take us on and use our services, they pretty much stick with us for the entire time. And then we go into a rolling contract into the 4th and 5th years. The reason it's 3 years is if we find a deal through an agent, then they don't want to fill out any sort of deeds or anything like that or employ solicitors to do that. So it's a maximum of 3 years that we can do. After that, we can do that. I mean, we have management agreements that we do direct with landlords without the agents, and we can go to 5 years. You can go as long as you want, go to 10 years if you like, but let's just plan for 5 years ahead for now. We can also use other people's money, like I said. We have investors on our private group who are open to investing in you as a brand new person if you are the person without the money or the capital to be able to pay for the startups. And the startup costs are things like, deposits if you have to pay it on the property, your first month's rent, and also, furnishing the property, etc. So they can be anywhere between £3,000 and sort of £5,000. We've got investors who have 10, 20 times that time the amount of money, and they're happy to take a percentage of the profit to give you the money to help you, and you help them, because they also recognize, and these are sophisticated investors, they also recognize that there is residual income to be made here as well. And they're off busy doing other things with their money, and they like to know that they've got a steady income coming in. We've got some of them on £10,000-15,000 a month, and these are just the investors. Joint venture partners, again, this is the investors that we can use. And your joint venture partner, it could be that they are your guarantor. So if you have bad credit or anything like that, they can be your guarantor. They can be the person who fronts up all the money. You do all the work, and you might go 50-50 on the profit. So it's an awesome way to get started as well. So as you can see, it's very flexible to be able to get into this business with or without money. The startup is very quick. Once you've got a property, actually, let's talk about the business. Once you're going to have to register yourself a company name, because the way that we deal with agents, we want to be in company agreements and that type of thing. We can't sign ASTs as such, because we're not within the Housing Act. We're outside of the Housing Act, and that's what we call common law. So it's a super quick setup for a business. Now, I've got lots of successful business people that I work with, and some that I mentor as well in this particular strategy. And they are dumbfounded once they find out, because anyone can tell you anything, right? Why would you believe me? That's the thing. But once they find out that this business is so quick to set up, and it's relatively low, it's a low startup cost compared to some businesses, and then they realize how quickly the profits come in, they want to just multiply their properties hand over fist. I've got guys who had 2 or 3, and they've realized the profits. And Harvey, again, he's got 3. He said, right, I want more, give me more. Because they know that, if you're getting £5,641 from 3 properties, if you double that, then let's say, for theory's sake, you're getting over £11,000 per month from 6 properties. So it doesn't take a lot to ramp up. So it's a fast turnover in profit. So I have students now who are turning over, £100,000 a year. Harvey on £60,000 a year. There's others on £200,000 a year, and there's others even higher. And the profits normally work out anywhere between sort of 30 and 41-42%, depending on the time of the year. So those profits are fantastic, because a lot of big corporates, they're quite happy with 20-25% gross profit before they even start to get into their what they call their EBITDA, so then their sort of net values, etc. A couple of people saying there, yes, well done. And one of those students is a gentleman called Nigel. He came on our course in November, and he started his, so he was out looking for properties. He then found what we call 2-apart hotels. So they were basically properties that were being put together by the landlord or developer, and he bought commercial properties, and he was then converting them to residentials. So Nigel met with them, and Nigel's actually going to be on our next course. He's going to be giving the full story for about 45 minutes or so, and giving you the rundown, if you're there, on exactly how he did it. Now, Nigel didn't have the money to fund these, so he found a business partner. So again, we're talking about the joint venture partners here. And the joint venture partner paid for all the startup, all the setup costs, etc. Didn't have to go to a bank. They have a profit share now. And as you can see there, in the last 4 months, he has turned over £270,000. That is, if it increases like that, that's over £1 million business created in 4 months. That is incredible in anyone's language, in any business language. I'm talking, this is one guy who now employs 2 other people, one of those including his son, and then Ian is the silent investor, if you like. He sits back and collects his money and takes his profit. So it's great business for both of them. And Nigel previously had a recruitment business, I think it was, and now he's into the property business and the service accommodation business, so the service industry, all in one. And as you can see, he's actually flying. And that's the two buildings. I think there's 25 units across the two, and then two completely different areas. One is key for tourists and one is key for business. So who is this for? Now, Harvey had some property experience, but he was like, I think he owned supermarkets and post offices. Nigel was in the recruitment business, dabbled a little bit into property, like I said at the start, there's some frustration, a bit overwhelmed on different strategies and that type of thing. Strategy frustration, as we call it. And then from there, we have other students who, we have like Anna, who used to work at Citibank in a high-end banking job. She then left, and within 3 or 4 months, she got 7 deals, over £7,000 a month, I think it was. These included HMOs and service accommodation. We've got Jimmy London, who was in pubs and nightclubs. He now turns over about £42,000 a month in profit. That's profit. So he profits about £42,000 a month. And then there's Michelle, a guy called Michelle. He's around about £75,000 a month profit. But he's been going now about 4 years, I think it's 3 years, 4 years. So that's a business that's ramped up, and he could hardly speak English when he first came to this country. So who is it for? I can tell you it's pretty much anyone who has the passion and they are driven to succeed. So you must be passionate about delivering good service. You must be passionate about creating a good business. You must be passionate about doing what it is that you need to do for yourself. So, we talk about having a why. A why is having a purpose in life. Why are you here? Some people say, why am I here? Well, as soon as you work out why you're here and what you need to do, then you can start to create passion and that drive to be able to succeed. We talk about fear as being the biggest blocker that we have. And everyone says, yeah, but fear, what's fear? So fear can be in all sort of shapes and sizes, and it comes in all sort of disguises. Number one is worry. So people worry about things a lot, and normally the stuff that they worry about is gone away in a week. If there's something that you're worrying about for months and months and years, like money, then you need to fix it very quickly. And like I said at the start, entrepreneurs, one of our biggest fears is not having enough money each and every month. So we have to create a passive income, a residual income that's going to be there while we work on the long game. We talk about the short game and the long game. So we need that income to cover our bills, to cover, our holidays and whatever else, and playing golf and cars. And then from there, we can start to create the long game. A lot of people also have doubt. Part of fear is doubt. They doubt themselves, or they doubt the market, or they've been programmed to doubt by their parents or family or siblings or people they work with or school teachers, whatever it might be. So sometimes it can take a little bit of time to change, to get into the positive sort of thought process. But I can tell you this, you can only think of one thing at any one time, male or female. So it may as well be positive. A lot of people say, oh, but I can't get the negative thought out. We'll start talking positive things. It will soon disappear. It takes a bit of practice, but you get there. Another part of fear is feeling overwhelmed all the time. Like, oh, I just can't handle all this. And I've got people calling me, I've got me doing this, and they just get stressed from being overwhelmed. And then from there, there's what we call anxiety. So people get really anxious, start biting their nails and worrying, and what am I going to do? And then, looking around and getting worried, and people, do they like me? People, don't they like me, etc. So all of this creates what we call a reactive lifestyle. So you are reacting to everything. So a bill comes in, oh, I've got to pay it. Somebody says something bad to you, oh no, it's not good. You're reacting. So the opposite is a proactive life, where you don't worry, but you start to think about things. You don't worry, you think about things. You think about opportunities. You don't actually, you welcome what we call a so-called fear, so you can then turn it in to the actions that you need to do, and just And as we said there on screen, it creates that passion and drive for you to succeed, because there's no way you're going to lose. And if you've got other people involved, like family or friends and other people that you want to help, that really helps. That times by 10, if you like, or times by 100, whatever type of person you are, that can really help you force forward and achieve what you need to achieve. So is it for everyone? It's not for everyone, no, but it's for those people who really are passionate and they are driven to succeed and they want to make a difference and they really need to make some income and want to make income and they want to change their lifestyle. It's not going to fall out of the sky for you, so to speak. So if you're one of those people, it's not for you. So types of service accommodation. So the types of service accommodation out there are three sort of core components, if you like. There's a serviced apartment, there is an apart hotel, and then there is what we call corporate housing. So an apartment obviously is, 1, 2, 3 bed apartment, etc. And we will turn those into, so predominantly we like 2 bed apartments, and we like 2 bed apartments with 2 bathrooms. And they can be 2 en-suites. A lot of the modern buildings now normally have just an ensuite attached to the bathroom. So instead of a main family bathroom. And, we like those at least sort of 5-10 minute walk into the city centre. And we don't really take on apartments where they're not in a big city. The other type of apartment, if you like, is a house, because it's then service accommodation. And we will take on period homes that have been fully refurbed to a modern spec inside. And tourists love these properties. And we found that 2 and 3 bed property that we can then turn into 4. So it'll be a 3 bed property with 3 receptions, or possibly 2 reception rooms that we can then turn into a bedroom, and we can sleep 8 people in these properties. But you must have a minimum of 2 bathrooms. You can imagine waiting around for that 1 bathroom is 8 people. Not good, especially if they're visiting your area to go to a wedding, and half of them are ladies and they need to do their hair and makeup. So just remember that 2 bathrooms minimum, 3 if you can get it, or an additional WC. So service apartments, we really like them. 1 bed you can go for as well, but that's going to be more sort of central London and those type of areas. We've found with our experience and others' experience out there that the 2 and 3 beds work much better, especially the 2 bed is key, but the 3 bed is better for higher profits, simply because you can sleep more people in them. And not everyone wants to sleep on a sofa bed. So when they book up a 1 bedroom property, yes, they will sleep 4 people, but we find that we also compete a lot with the hotels with the 1 bed. So if you want my advice, I'd go with the 2 and 3 bed properties, and ours are always full. So an apart hotel, as we mentioned there, which Nigel has now created, you don't actually take them on, you create them. He's created these from 2 parties. The 2 properties, there's one with 13 and one with 12, so 25 all up. And one is in a very high leisure area, tourist area, and it's year-round tourism as well. It's a very international famous spot. And the same as where we have our properties, we have the same thing. But then he also has another part hotel in a very high, well-known business area. Again, a global area where there's global countries and that type of global companies, should I say. So these are very, very profitable. As you can see, as I shared with you before, Nigel's now turned, it'll be higher than that now because that was 2 weeks ago I got that information, £270,000 in 4 months. That's the bookings that he's taking. And over 1,000 of those are from booking.com, over 1,000 alone from booking.com, and hundreds from the channels as well, which again, we'll share with you and show you how those work. And then there's corporate housing. So corporate housing is great as well, because you can take longer bookings and, you're looking sort of 30 days or more. And corporate housing can be anything from a manager or something like that coming over, or an expert who understands, how to turn a certain thing on a computer that way and not that way. And he has to come for a month to launch the new computer system or something like that. And it may stay longer, because normally if they allow a month, it's going to be 2 months or maybe more, especially if it's the NHS, so maybe 2 years more. So they come there as the experts, if you like, the matter experts, or it could be a C-level CEO, chief executive officer, or COO, Chief Operations Officer, whatever it might be, C-level, and they've got a new posting to the area. They might come from the States, they might come from anywhere over in Europe, etc., anywhere in the world, and they come here maybe just for 3 months. So they want a fully serviced property for that time, and they want to be able to come home and like have a home away from home. They don't want to stay in a hotel, so to speak. So they are the 3 key types. Obviously, we could talk a lot more about these, but obviously we're conscious for time this evening. So the framework. Let's get stuck into the framework. The framework, it's a system, it's a process that we follow, and there's 7 key steps. There are little other steps that come off these, but again, that's a lot more detailed, and you don't really need to know these until you actually take action. You start, actually start on this strategy. So 7 simple steps, and we call it the ABC part. We tried to put some sort of acronym in there, and it's the best that we've got. And number 1 is assess your area. So as I said, there are micro areas as well. So if you think of, let's think of somewhere like, Cambridge or Oxford or London or York or Bath or Reading or wherever. So you'll look at the areas. So I live near a town called Stamford, and up in the Midlands, I guess it is. And we live on the outskirts on a 5-acre property in the countryside. And if I were going to look at Stamford as an area, then you have Stamford Central, and there's lots of history, lots of old churches, lots of old brick buildings, lots of restaurants, shops, and that type of thing. So then we look further out, and then you get to like more rural stuff, and it's still part of Stamford, but Stamford's not that big, so you get more sort of rural bits. And then there is what else is there? Not much really. So, and then there's a couple of business parks as well. So what you would look at is, because it's a high tourist area, you could say, right, I want something that's central, like a 5-minute walk. And everything is like a 5-minute walk in Stamford because everything is so close. And then you've got the business area. It could be a 10-minute drive. So you could say to yourself, right, okay, who am I going to target here? And we're going to target the businesses? Well, not really, because there's not a lot of business in Stamford. So, okay, who am I going to target? I'm going to target the tourist industry. Okay, then you have to think to yourself, right, so in Stamford, do tourists come all year round? Or is it a summer place? Or is it a winter place? Or is it an autumn place? So the good thing about Stamford is it is kind of an all year-round tourist area, but the main months again is still the May, June, July, August, where it's nice and warm. And they have different events. They have like the Burley Horse Festival that's just been on last week, and people are just running around everywhere trying to find a property. So there are little niche spots, and then you go to London, like a big area. So London is massive, and then you look at Greater London, even bigger. So there are niche areas. There are like areas around the where my son went this week, the Natural History Museum, and then you've got areas around, like, let's say Tower Bridge, and then you've got areas around Buckingham Palace. So if you're going to put something in London, you want to be close to one of those key tourist areas. Or, if you're going to focus on business, you probably want to be over Canary Wharf way. Or it could be that you want to be in the Square Mile, but in the Square Mile, it basically shuts down on the weekends and sort of no one's really there. So you need to start to think, right, how am I going to feed my weekends and how am I going to feed my weeks? So you have to be really careful on the area that you choose to make sure that you're getting that consistent feed into your bookings, both on weekdays and on weekends. So yes, there's a lot to do with your area, but this is something that we teach you in detail. And then from there, we book viewing. So you'll find a property, within the area. You may be looking on Rightmove or Zoopla. We actually get agents to call us. We don't call agents. And, if you were to come on a course, we show you how to do that. We give you the email. We tell you exactly what to say, and then your phone starts ringing right there and then. And, we tell them exactly what we do. So that's great. Then you book your viewings, and you want to book them sort of, if you're phoning up or they're phoning you now, you want to be doing that booking the same day or that same night or the next day. You don't want to leave it too long, especially when you operate in London, because the properties just get snapped up. And then from there, we conduct the viewings, and then we present our offers, and then we put an agreement together, a contract with them for 3 years if it's through an agent, longer if it's direct with the landlord, and we refresh the property. We never ever refurbish because you shouldn't need to, but sometimes we may need a refresh. There may be some scrapes or something on the stairs that need a little bit of paint, where people come up and down with bags, or where the previous people have moved out furniture and and the landlord hasn't spent any money on it, whatever it might be. So and if there's any fire safety, we install that if needed. It's not always necessarily, depending on the type of planning that you have, whether it's C1 or C3, and we'll cover that in a moment. And then the tenure, you get the guests in, and they can stay for a minimum of 1 night, a minimum of 3 nights, 5 nights, 7 nights, depending on what you put together, or they can stay for weeks on end, if it's corporate housing and that type of thing. So it's quite simple. So assess your area. So you need to start thinking about planning and other rules that may apply. So in London, there is the 90-day rule. There is also the fact that if you go beyond that 90-day rule, then you should be getting C1. I can tell you now that I would say, at a guess, out of 10,700 odd service accommodation rooms available in London alone, that I would say that maybe about, at a guess, 9,000 of those are breaking the rules. They just don't have the people to cover and prosecute, if you like. And if they prosecute, they're just going to say, look, if you're doing what you're doing, please cease what you're doing, desist, and then in 30 days, bye-bye. So I haven't heard of anyone. I know lots of people operating in London. I haven't heard of anyone actually getting anything, any notice, etc., from the councils. And then there is the leasehold agreements. So what we call the head lease. So they may have certain rules as well that says that you cannot operate service accommodation in those buildings. If that's the case, then we move on to another building where they do operate. Now, just on that, we had some experience today, and I've had experience of this all the time. One of my students said that, about a month ago, she went in a particular place in London, and they said, no, we don't do that. We don't allow anything to happen on booking.com, nothing on Expedia, nothing on TripAdvisor, no tourists. We don't want any of this short-term lets. So I said to her, look, why don't you sort of, explain to her what you do, set up a meeting and go and see her. And then she said, no, I'm too busy. And I said, okay, well, don't give up, try again. And then she kept persisting. And then the lady today, she had a meeting with her, and she said, you're only here because you were persistent and consistently, try to contact me. And I like that. And yes, we can do that with booking.com. Yes, we can do. Yes, we can do. Yes, we can do that. So, and she said, look, this building, I've already got a serviced accommodation operator in there. And yet this is a lady who said no. And she said, I've got this new building come up with 500 units in. You can take however many you need in there. So fantastic. So planning. It's very simple. If you just remember this, C1 is what we call C1, class 1. You must have C1 planning, and C1 planning is the same as a hotel, bed and breakfast, or a guest house where you provide the service like your food and drink and that type of thing. So you must have that regardless of the dwelling type if the property is rented out by individual rooms, much like a hotel or a guest house or a B&B. Or you can have C3. Now, C3 is your standard buy-to-let sort of residential classification. Now, we can keep it as C3 if we rent it out as the entire property or the entire apartment by the night, much like a buy-to-let. And if you have any buy-to-lets, or if you want to buy a buy-to-let, I can tell you now that your income will go up by, I don't know, let's say you make £200 or £300 a month profit if you make that with a buy-to-let. Depending on where it is, the right area. We've got properties that have made £5,000 and £6,000 per month profit in the last few months each. That's per property. 5, 6. There's one, actually, there was, £5,000, £6,500 on some of those. The biggest, the £6,500 one was the 3-bedroom property where we had 8 people staying. So it's enormous. So just remember that. You can take a snapshot of it if you like. So your gold mine area. This is all, again, still part of your assessing your area. You must have events happening in the area. Tourist attractions are great. There's always events happening. Center of the town or the city, no more than a 10-minute walk away. And it's a 10-minute walk, not a 10-minute fast pace. Must have large businesses nearby or tourist attractions or both or. If you can have both, then you've got an area that you will have, weekend bookings and you will have weekday bookings and you will not know yourself. It will be absolutely amazing, the profits you get. And you must have a suitable supply of properties and guests, obviously. We spoke about Stanford. So it'd be very hard in Stanford because there's not a supply, the supply of properties that we need. And the guests would also be much lower too, because, it's not such a big, well-known area. Most of you on here probably said, where's Stanford? I don't know, never heard of it. You may Google it. 2 or 3 beds, as I said, they work best if you're looking for apartments or period homes that have been fully refurbed. And 1 bed's in London. That's the only place I would go for a 1-bed property. So it can be a new property or refurbed, as we said there. And you can also work anywhere if you're going to be the person putting the money in and you'll be the joint venture partner. So for you still need to be wary of the area and you need to be able to do your due diligence, because you don't want somebody saying, yes, it's going to work, and they're an amateur and then you get stuck. So just a little snapshot here from visitbritain.org, a website that we quite frequently look at for data and information. You can see there that, over 4 million people, visitors from France in this year. And this particular year, and I think this is last year, 2016. And that's 12% of all visitors. Now, you can see that they don't spend that much for the amount of visitors coming, because they may just be overnight stay. They may actually just come for the day, because they may come across on the Channel Tunnel or something like that, or on the train. You can see that the Americans, they're the second biggest visitor, but also the biggest spender. They obviously like to come out here for a long period of time, because nobody's really going to come for a short time unless they are obviously here on business. So we look at data like this all the time, and you can start to focus on these type of people with Facebook ads or something like that, or Google ads, or whatever other sort of online advertising you want to do. And again, that's something that we show you as well. So it's all very interesting data to know. So this is where we book the viewings. So when you're booking viewings, you need to know obviously what you're going to say to agents and this type of thing. So we always focus on and telling the agents they want to know who's going to be staying there. We say that they're going to be young professionals, or they could be corporate housing and or holiday lets or tourists and that type of thing. So the way we say it is we actually say professionals and families. Now, if you speak to anyone who's a landlord, they love the fact that, yes, I prefer a family. Say, okay, well, that's exactly what we have staying in here. Oh, I like young professionals. Why do you like young professionals? Because they're working and they pay the bills. Oh, fantastic. That's what we put in there too. And then we also explain that we have clients in the area. So you'll need to get in contact with a couple of companies in the area, well-known ones, so that they know who they are. And these should be the human resources, the HR people. And you're obviously advertising your properties, but you're kind of doing it in parallel to not having any properties. So when you first start, for those first couple of weeks or that first month, there's a little bit of jiggery pokery, but it's very simple to do once once we teach you. So we let them know that the property is cleaned and checked daily. We have CCTV to the exterior of our properties, so we can say, we pick up our phone. And we use an app called ring.com. And what we can do is we can see motion. That's his motion at one of our properties. And we can check. And we can see what's going on. And you can actually hear it as well, as you can see. And we can actually have a two-way conversation. So we can actually have a look and see who's in our properties, what's happening outside of our properties any time of the day that we want. We can also answer the doorbell on here as well. So it's fantastic. So we also let agents know that we have that, and they love it. And they tell the landlords, and the landlords love it even more, because they know that, you're really taking care of their property and the safety of also the guests. We also have our own insurance, but there's insurance offered by people like Expedia, VRBO, Airbnb as well. £500,000-600,000 if anything should happen. They're not necessarily what they call an insurance policy, but it's kind of like if something happens and it's a guest who booked with them, then if you can prove that, and again, if you've got CCTV, you can prove that, then you'll get a payout. So we keep it in showroom condition all the time, and we want it long term. And what you've got to do before you go into agents, and this is a psychological thing that you need to do, you need to prepare yourself. Because if you're not used to talking to people, or you're not really a people person, you really do have to be a people person, especially in the property business. Simply because property is the commodity and people are the business. If you want to be in property, you're going to have to deal with builders, you're going to have to deal with solicitors, you're going to have to deal with accountants, you're going to have to deal with cleaners, you're going to have to deal with estate agents, etc. So if you're not a people person, you need to change pretty quick. So you need to get ready. So your physiology is kind of like, yes, you don't want to walk in like this. You want to walk in, not tall and proud like stiff. And you need to be smart, and you need to hold yourself with confidence, not arrogance, but with confidence. And then you think about your focus. So, we talk about fear. I spoke about fear before, and you got this worry, you got this doubt, you got this anxiety, and you feel overwhelmed, and you will see it on people's faces. Especially if you're an agent, you will see these people walking in like, "Hi, how you going? Yeah, I'm just here because I want to rent a property for whatever." And agents will just snap onto you straight away. They will see that you're a beginner immediately. So you must go in there with a focus. Right, I'm going there. I'm thinking about getting a property. I'm thinking about telling them what I need to do. We deal with professionals. We deal with families. The property check. We got guaranteed rent. Blah blah blah. Talk about these things. Don't go in there and fire it to them. Create a conversation with questions like who, what, where, why, when, what we call open questions. And then there's your language and your tone. So you can imagine that if I get quite excited, obviously, on webinars, because I love talking about it, because I love doing it. But if I were to sit here and tell you that, I'm a bit worried about things, and I sort of doubt myself sometimes, and I'm feeling a bit overwhelmed and really anxious about talking here tonight, and I don't really like things, and I'm not really, good at this, and no, I don't think I'd like to do that. You've got negative language, which is a no's and don'ts and can't and won't, and then you've got the tone. So you're lowering your tone. You're just not feeling positive. So, even if you are worried about things or whatever, for that 5, 10, 15 minutes that you're in there, be someone else, become an actor. Because it will help you out a lot. It will help you out a lot in life as well, believe me. So in practice, the key points, and remember, features tell a story. So if you say, "Oh, I've got a big house with 17 bedrooms," so what? Tell me something else. Like, what are the benefits of this property? Well, that means that if you have 17 children, they will all have their own bedroom. And in fact, it has 17 bathrooms, so they can all have their own bathroom. So it means there will be no fighting, and it will be means that they sleep at night. And if they sleep at night, it means that you're going to sleep at night. So, the benefits and the features. You must always talk about the benefits. And this is with agents, and this is with landlords direct as well, because once you start this business, you're going to tell people what you do. You're going to have some sort of pitch, and you need to be passionate about it, and dedicated to what you're doing, and it will come across. People will say, "This passionate guy, I love what he does. Tell me a bit more. I want to work with you." Nobody wants to work with anyone who's a bit dull, especially if you're out there trying to get other joint venture partners to work with you. They need to know that you're spirited and ready to fight. So conduct. So this is where we conduct viewings. And I won't go through it tonight, but there's a particular way that we do viewings. And it's the way that we actually take control. So we actually take control, because when you walk into a property, an agent is quickly going to say, right, over here we've got this, it's got 5 bedroom, 2 bedroom, whatever, bathroom here. You need to slow them down. Right, can we start in there? Right, let's go in there. And so there's more to it, but we don't have time to go through that whole thing tonight. And then we present offers. So the way that we present offers is in a professional way. So we've got a spreadsheet that we use, and if you can see the screen there, it says how it works at the bottom. So under there is about another 4 pages of exactly what we do, a whole FAQ, which we send to either the landlord or we send to the agent. And the spreadsheet is used because we always like to make, an offer slightly under. We don't want to be stupid, because then we'll just get laughed out. So then we look at, as you can see on the screen, we've got the annual rent, and we annualize the rent. We look at typical voids. We look at typical maintenance. We look at annualize the net rent, give them their actual specific profit, their net profit they will get, the profit that they would get with us or another company. And then from there, you've got, how much money extra it would be that they would get using us. And then from there, the extra profit over the 3 years. So that is a fantastic way of putting it together. And then from the spreadsheet, we PDF it from there, and it looks really professional. We get lots of good comments on that. Don't just send an email saying this is our offer, what do you think? Because that whole system that you saw there, it shows justification for your lower offer. Make sure that the extra profit that they get from using you is always a profit and not a loss. If it's a loss, then you're asking way too little. So that is another way of guiding how much or how low we can go, if you like, without getting laughed away or insulting anyone. And then we'll sign an agreement. So an agreement could be a simple management agreement, which we provide to you. It's all written in plain language. It's all checked off by us, written by our solicitors, and then checked by another solicitor. And we provide all these to you. So there's a few thousand quids there, investment in a solicitor or 2 solicitors we've done that you wouldn't have to do, because we provide those. And apart from a management agreement, there are also company-led agreements. There are ASTs. There are corporate tenancy agreements, commercial tenancy agreements, should I say. So there's all types of agreements. So you'll need to know which one to use. And this is one here that we put together. So you just fill out all of your information, put your logo on, etc. So we've got all of those and provide all of those agreements as well. And then there's what we call a refresh. So like I said, this one here is a complete refurb, but this is one I mentioned Jimmy London for, is on about £42,000 a month in profit. This is above a pub. It's got 9 rooms there, and that pulls in consistently £15,000 profit a month, just that one. So that's why he's invested in that. And again, working with a joint venture partner on that to fund that. This is one that we did here that we found. It didn't necessarily need a refurb. It definitely needed a refresh. And then you can see here, that's what we turned it into. So a lot brighter. But then you'll find other properties that don't need anything doing. And I can tell you this, that 95% of our properties don't need anything doing to them. So don't let that scare you off. That's just an example showing you there what you can do. So then your tenure, like having the guests come in and stay. So the main booking channels, the number one booking channel that you'll need to get to know, and is booking.com. So free to use, they only charge you, they charge about 15% of the booking fee. Airbnb is probably the next biggest one that you'll get, and they're fantastic because you only, it's the guest who pays the fee, and we pay an admin fee of around about 3%. So you'll find that when you first start off, you'll get a lot of bookings from Airbnb, and then booking.com will slowly take over, simply because booking.com won't take you serious until you have about 5 reviews and you start moving. And then you've got hotels, Trivago, you've got TripAdvisor, you've got Expedia. There's about 35 or 36 of them. I haven't listed them all here. And then there's holiday homes, there's holiday lets, there's all different sort of kind. And I've noticed on TV one night, there was another one advertising like a new one. I can't remember what it was called. So, there might be up to 40 now. And the the biggest one in America is called Home Away. Not Home and Away, but Home Away. And we get lots through there. And it comes via VRBO. So there's all different channels. And what you'll need to manage all of those channels is a channel manager. Excuse me. What that does is stops you basically getting double bookings, but it also enables you to be able to automate your business so you don't have to be there. And via communications like templates and emails and triggers and that type of thing. So we love our channel manager because it enables us to be able to travel. We just spent a week in Venice and we were still taking bookings, and it was fantastic. Not Venice, sorry, Valencia. So get a look. Don't deliver rubbish, because you'll get rubbish guests and you'll get rubbish reviews. Deliver value for money. Never deliver over the top, so to speak. So if you're going to have a property in East London, you don't dress it up like you would in West London, so to speak. So you don't never over deliver, but just deliver, for the suitable area and the type of guests that you're going to be having. Always walk around the area as well. Experience it for yourself. And this is also part of your assessment stage, the first stage. You need to make sure that, if somebody says it's a 10-minute walk, is it a 10-minute walk, or is it more a 5-minute walk, or is it more of a 20-minute walk? Because if an agent, ordinarily tells you it's a 10-minute walk, it could be 15 or 20. So you have to experience it yourself. You have to understand what it's like to walk around, because you're going to have to tell your guests this type of thing. So if your property looks a bit rough, you're going to get rough back. So keep it looking good, keep it clean. Make sure all the beds are made and tightly tucked nicely, and your cleaners can do all of this for you anyway. So and adjust to suit your area, as we just said, and the type of guests that you want to attract. Furnish them, beds, etc. Must not be substandard. We like fusion furniture solutions because they're really good, and we can set the level that we want. And if I phone them up on a Monday, because I have a good relationship with them, sometimes it can be fully furnished on a Wednesday or Thursday, ready for the professional photos to be taken. So remember, this is the service accommodation service industry. Although we're talking property here, if you like, we're simply using the property to deliver the strategy that we deliver. And your reviews from the public are 100% essential, not just for you to survive, but for you to thrive as well. Our properties, we're in the 9s. We've got our 3-bed, the big one, and we're at 9.7 out of 10, and that's classified as exceptional. The good thing on that with booking is that if people, like a lot of people do, they look at a property by review score. So we are always in the top 3 or 4. So here's the type of stuff that Fusion Furniture does. You don't have to use Fusion Furniture. There's other ones out there that do a similar package. They're quite good. They're good value. And they provide everything: the TVs, the cups, the saucers, the glasses, the art on the wall, the whole lot. This is one of our students up in Birmingham. That's the interior. Dressed them up nicely. Art on the wall to make the walls look, make sure they don't look bare. Little things like tea cloths and putting the kettles and everything on there, making it look like it's homely and it's a home from home. And then this is a different way that we make our beds now. Tuck them in tightly instead of the little hanging over the bottom. And again, that's more of elite hotels are doing the type of thing, and the karate chop in the pillows. See, all little things. Like I said at the start, the dynamic stuff is exactly what we're looking at. And then we're looking, this is Jimmy's one here again. If you're going to do a refurb, the bathroom, and when you take your photos, this is not a professional photo, but we'll have professionals come in. This was taken at Mother's Day, so obviously the daffodils, etc. Get it open so that they, paints a picture that they know if they're there and they want to eat out on the veranda, then they can. And another one of our properties is tucked away in here, if you can see in there. This is one of the trendiest cafes in town, and this is another great land spot for that as well. So we're right next door to it. And then as you walk out the door down the street here, then there's tons of cafes and everything. But it's gated as well, so it's set back. There's only 2 properties there. They are apartments, but they're actually detached houses. So the bedrooms are downstairs and the living areas are actually upstairs. So and that works really well. And our agent, one of our agents, phoned us up and said, would you like this? I went, well, yes, please, thank you. So, well, you can take it. I've already spoken to the landlord, etc. So once you get these relationships with these people, then you can just get properties bought to you all the time. But it's going to take a few weeks to get that set up. And that's the inside of that one as well. You can see nice modern bathrooms, fusion furniture here. Everything's done, taken care of. That one's a big sofa bed there as well. No sofa bed in this one. Nice big period home. And you can see, just a little tip, if you can see the windows here, we put on that the little misty covers. It's what they call bra height. So it means that ladies can walk around anywhere in the house and nothing below bra height can be seen, so to speak. Not very technical, but it is quite technical. You must be doing that. These windows here, we've now also put the same thing on, because if you could see on the previous slide, or you might even be able to see out there, there are overlooking windows. So we block those out as well. And again, it's for the guest privacy, but you don't want on a review that, somebody was looking at me or whatever. So you need to make sure you're always getting the good reviews. So we spoke about, the strategy, frustration, etc. So what we've created here is one clear path, if you like, one clear framework. And there's 7 simple steps. And of my students who follow these 7 simple steps religiously, they are the ones making the biggest money, because they stick to the rules, because they've used their heads to say, right, I've been taught this strategy. Now, if I execute that strategy, as in take action, exactly how I've been taught, steps 1 to 7, do exactly what I'm told, put the artwork here, have the zip link beds if you're going to be doing contractors and that type of thing. Not really necessarily when you're, if you've got a 1 bed and, I know people may say, no, that's not right, but I can tell you from experience, in our properties where we don't do contractors, and we don't do contractors anyway, I think we might have been asked maybe 2 or 3 times if they could separate the beds. And those 2 or 3 times we've said, well, no, we can't. Okay, no problem, that's fine. But if you want zip link beds, then you can provide those. There is a certain type of linen, so you're going to need to get a good linen company that will drop stuff off and then pick it up, even if you're not there, because some of them come at 4:30, 5 o'clock in the morning to do the drop off. You need to know where you're going to put that linen and that type of thing. You need to get cleaners to do maybe they can do the linen drop offs and that type of thing. Maybe they'll even do the linen. So how much is realistic? So what are you going to earn in your first sort of 6 months, if you like, from service accommodation? Now, what I've done is I've taken the average figures here of the average people doing this. I haven't included the superstars or the elite, like the Jimmys, etc. So what we're saying here is the average income that you should be able to generate in your first 1 to 3 months, if you follow the actual framework, you should be getting a minimum of 3 deals. Let's say they produce £850 a month in profit. Many of ours are many hundreds more than that per month. Then that would equal £2,550 per month in profit, or 30k a year. Now, as you can see, Harvey has 5,641, whatever it was, pounds profit from his 3 properties last month. So that's over double that on income. So here's a 60-odd thousand pounds he's looking at annual income there, averaged out. So if you were to take it over 5 years, which is how long we like properties, because even if we do 3 years, we do them rolling, then, that's 153 grand. Now, you don't have to stop at 3 properties. You could have 6 and it could be 5 grand, 5.5, etc. And they're quite easy to maintain if you follow all the automation steps and procedures as well, which again is all part of the framework that we provide you. So, ask yourself how long and hard you'd have to work, in a year, maybe, if you had to carry on as you are now, to earn an extra £30,600 a year. Some of you here may not even be on £30,000 already a year, and you're thinking, wow, I'd love to get that. Other people may be on £60,000 a year and say, well, that's not going to cover me. Now I know I need 6 or I need 10 properties, etc. The good thing about this business is if you need more money, just go and get another property. And then you know you're going to raise your income by £1,000 a month or more. Or you may say, right, let's go and get 2, let's go and get 3, let's go and get 4. It's up to you where your income stops. That's great, isn't it? Yes. Somebody's saying that's fantastic. Thank you. Yes, it does give you full control of your life, of your income, 100%. So deals, as I said, can be much, much bigger with massive profits. You know, one of ours is £6,500. Most of them averaging about £5,000 over the summer per month, each property. And that's what I've said down the bottom there. So I'm jumping ahead without actually looking at the slide there. So, you know, if you were averaging out at £2,000 a month and 3 properties, that's £6,000 a month. So that's awesome. That's like $72,000 a year. Nice pay rise. So as I said, you know, we can show you the strategy, give you the framework, and we teach everyone exactly the same way. Nobody is dragged away in the class and said, right, okay, you look special, so you're going to do this, or you don't look so special, you're going to do this. Everyone gets taught exactly the same way. We all do the same exercises in the room. It is then up to you, and completely up to you, to go and take action and execute the strategy. If you execute the strategy in the way that we tell you, following the framework, it will equal success. Virtually guaranteed that if you do what we tell you and you go out and do it, it will lead to success. And I know this because we've got so much success because people follow the framework. The ones that aren't so successful, they're stepping off, they're doing this, they're doing that. They get a bit cocky, to be honest, and that's what they do. But, you know, I stick to the framework. I do exactly what I tell you. I do exactly what I teach. You know, practice what you preach, as they say. I do that. And the reason I do that is because I know it works. I never, ever slide off the rails, because if I do, I know it's going to hurt. It's going to hurt my pocket. It means I'm going to waste a lot of time. So if you do what we tell you, to follow the framework, you know, execute, take action, it will equal success. Information alone will not get you success. So you can learn the strategy, but you need to take action. So imagine what you would be doing if you didn't have to worry about earning any money every day. So what I'm saying is, if next month you decided, I'm going to take 2 weeks off. If you've got kids, obviously it might have been 2 weeks ago. I'm going to take 2 weeks off with my kids or whatever it might be. I know, or you know, that money is still going to be coming in. It doesn't matter. You don't need to go to work. It could be that you take a month off. You know, what we ultimately want is a business that we can take a year off from, and it still maintains and increases its value by way of turnover. You're still getting your income. It could be that you leverage other people to do things. It could be that whilst you're away, you can pay somebody else to do things and still to continue to grow your business. After all, you know, Richard Branson, I don't think has ever flown a plane. I don't think he's ever driven a train. But he owns a train company. He owns an airline. He owns all sorts of other businesses. He had a radio station. You know, so he leverages other people's time and other people's expertise, and we can do the same. And this is exactly what we do. You know, one of my JV partners, he does check-ins for us. You don't need to do check-ins, but he likes to do it, and we get higher reviews because of that. So income coming in, no matter what you do. You know, it's not about just covering your basic income. It's about creating disposable income. You know, so if something comes up at Christmas and somebody says, oh, I want to go to this place and it's awesome dinner, and you go, well, how much is that? You know, it's like 150 quid. You know what? I can do that. Or it might be, no thanks, I'm cooking at home this year, or whatever it might be. You know, but I'm saying that because my wife came to me and said, well, let's go to this place for lunch. You know, it's only going to be us for Christmas lunch, and Christmas dinner we're going to somebody else's house. So, you know, we said, let's take the kids and have some fun and go and relax on Christmas Day. Take away the stress of hanging out. So above all else, this is your business, and it is a business that you're creating. So you'll have lower tax because, you know, it's lower tax that you pay on your dividends, etc. You know, you can claim against the company, and And there's all sorts of things you can do without going into the whole tax benefits here and now, but we do run through a lot of that on the day. So, you work on your business, not in your business. So, for instance, if you had a cleaning business, you'll work on getting other clients, but you won't actually be scrubbing floors or cleaning anything. So that's the difference between working on your business and working in your business. We're creating a business here that we can work on, which means that we have other people working in it if we need other people working in it. Once you grow to 10 or more, then you're probably going to need to have other people working in it for you. But once you've got that, you're going to have the income to be able to do it anyway. And you can ramp this up so quickly. It's such an easy business to ramp up quickly. All you've got to do is go and get the properties and you put them on the booking channels and away you go. Obviously doing it the way that we show you. Seek help from proven experts as well. We are proven experts. We do this business all day, every day. We also have a private Facebook group where there's 300 or more people on there who are also now, majority of them, proven experts because they're making a fortune from this each and every month. You must take action every day. This is when you're building up your business. Once you've got the business running at a steady flow, then you can start to say, okay, let's take some time off. Let's reward ourselves, because you must reward yourself on a daily basis, a weekly basis, monthly basis, annual basis. If you don't, what's the point in doing all this, huh? So for me, as an entrepreneur, I don't relax. What I mean by that is, when it comes to business, I don't relax because I'm always thinking about the next opportunity. Tony came to me, my manager, and he said, Ash, this Echo thing, we've got to put in another property. Well, I'm not sure, Tony, it's another cost. It could be an ongoing cost. And he said, no, it all operates off the internet, off the Wi-Fi, everything. It's great. And the benefits are boom, boom, boom. So I said, okay, let's give it a go. The guests loved it, so I rolled it out with all the others too. So it's awesome. It works good. So always listen to other people, because there are other people out there. Like Tony's always on the ground, at the front line, so to speak. So he feeds us back. And we go, yeah, let's do that. So as an entrepreneur, it's about living a few years of your life now, because like most people, so you can spend the rest of your life, but most people can't. So what we're saying there is, when I said, is this for everyone? No, it's not for everyone, because not everyone's going to have that get up and go, that passionate and drive. But if you do it now, and, while people are sitting around watching tonight, Coronation Street or EastEnders or whatever it is, if you do it now, you'll be the one in a couple of years' time being able to go, hey, I was doing that 2 years ago. Now, look, I do what I want because I have the freedom to do what I want. I have disposable income to do what I want and to live where I want and to drive a car and go on holidays where I want, look after my family, treat my family, whatever it might be. So what will you get from me? So we run a course each and every month, and the next one's coming up at the end of the month. We'll show you the link later. So we'll give you a manual. I've written a manual. It's about 120 odd pages long, all about rent to rent, how to manage rent to rent, how to find properties, etc. Basically, everything that we teach you in the course is in the manual. We also give you a masterclass day, which is a full day with us. It starts at 9, finishes about 6. So it's a long day. We give you lunch, obviously, and coffees and teas and biscuits. And we do lots of exercises on the day, because I want you to experience what it's like in the day in life of a service accommodation operator. As you've seen some of the legal contracts there, we provide those with you, and they're all being checked by our solicitors. You may actually find a JV partner on the day. Some people find JV partners within the group after they join the group, the Facebook group, because you can start posting out there and saying, look, I've got this property. I don't have the money right now. We give you a full costing sheet to show you how to work it out. And then the only people allowed on that group are the people who've actually been on the course. So if somebody's asking for somebody to JV for money and they've got the time, or somebody's asking, I can give you time, but I don't have the money, or somebody's saying, I've got the time, I've got the money, but I don't have the time, send me through the spreadsheet, and we share them there. So it's very open. And so that everyone can look at it and analyze, and then they take the deal. So we're very energetic in our training as well, guaranteed to help you retain more up here. because that's what we want to do. We want you to leave with as much information you've got. We encourage you to write stuff as well. Bring your laptops, bring your smartphone, take photos of the slides, whatever it is you need to do, so that you go away knowing what you need to know. And obviously with the Facebook group, you get the full backup service as well. So if there's anything you forget from the day, you just go on there and ask a few questions. And, a lot of the time it's me who answers as well. Here's a little snapshot here. This is the group here. So you're getting your peer group support. All of these people are also on the same page as you. They're out to make money from service accommodation, from rent to rent. You also get accountability on here as well. If you're putting a deal up, make sure it is a good deal. You can see Nigel there, if you can just make it out. So he put a post up there a couple of days ago. So we just took a 3-night regular booking for one of our apartments in Reading, initially to the end of October, but now looking more like a 3-year booking. What a result. And you can see there, they got Harvey there. Good. Make it something, champ. And wow, repeat business, like it from Tim there, etc. And a load of more other comments came down. So that's the support group there. It's actually Ashley Banfield Cashflow from Property. Please don't ask to join, because refusal may upset you. You only get to join there on the day when you're at the course. So that's all provided. We also teach you all about the systems for automation, showing you how you can actually start a business here, and you don't actually have to be in the country. So we run through all of that, all the different systems, all the different, you've seen one there with the ring.com. There's loads of other types of apps and that type of thing that we use. We don't overuse technology. We only use what's necessary. And there's a special offer today. So the manual that I give you, I've actually sold that for 500 quid. Quite a few times people said, look, can I just buy the manual? And said, yeah, sure, why not? But they don't actually get to join the group, the Facebook group. They don't also get all the other documentation, etc. They just wanted the manual. You get the full 1-day mastermind with us as well. It includes all the forms and all the contracts. That's valued at easy $3,000, easy. I'm probably underselling that. Full lifetime support on the Facebook group. That's valued at $1,000 a year, as said by my students. The calculator has taken a lot of time to put together and to get right. Probably undervalued, but again, valued at about 300 quid. Scripts for agents and landlords, that's priceless really, but we have to put some sort of value on it so you can see, maybe it's what it's worth. Probably $1,000 I'd pay for that, plus a whole lot more. So there's a total value there of 5,785, which is huge value. And you're thinking to yourself, okay, so it's probably going to be half price. Well, close. Satisfaction, 100% money back guarantee. So if you turn up on the day and then by the morning break you think this is not for me or I'm not for it, no questions asked. You can leave and we'll give you your money back, 100%. So purchase today and you can bring a friend for free, no charge, for you or your business partner. It doesn't matter who you can bring whoever you want, your mum, your dad, your granny, your brother, your sister, your son, your wife, your husband, whatever it is, or just a friend. Your return on investment would easily be back on your first month, no problem whatsoever. So investment today is just $497. That's for 2 people. So we're giving you 2 tickets. And if you wanted a friend and they wanted to pay, then it's $248.50 each. So awesome value that you're getting here. What I'll do is I'll put this up now so you can see how you can invest. And it should be on your screen now. And you simply hit the blue button that says invest in your future. It will be up for 2 hours, but I will be off here in about the next 5 minutes or 10 minutes, depending on how many questions we have. You never know. You might be the next £5,640 per month profit in just 5 months student. You might be the next Harvey. You might be the next Jimmy. You might be the next Mikhail. You might be the next Anna. You might be the next or whoever all our students are. And that equates to 67,692. And that's only from 3 properties. You know, you can get a lot more. It depends on you, depends on your determination, etc. So somebody's just asking, if I click the link, will it take me to the site? Yes, it will. And there's a date coming up in September or October. You can click on whichever one you prefer, and any other date that you want in there. As I said, on the next one, we've got Nigel Moss coming along. He's going to be telling us about his story from a beginner and to £270,000 worth of bookings in 4 months from 25 units or 2 apart hotels. So using the button that says book now, it actually says invest in your future, the blue button on the right. It will take you to the link, and you can use PayPal, you can use credit cards, etc. Thank you. Thanks, guys. Thank you, David, already for booking. Thank you. That was quick. Well done. We'll see you at the end of the month. And that brings me to the end. So I would welcome any questions. If you're on Facebook, please join us at the public Facebook group, which is facebook.com/Wealth and Success Academy, where we share lots of information. We also have another group, which is service accommodation using rent to rent. Some of you are already on there, I know that as well, where we also share a lot of information. Again, that's a public group, so you can have a look at that. So please let me know if you have some questions, fire them away. I'll just have a little bit more water. Somebody just said, yes, I agree what we said about the fear and doubt, about the fear and doubt and worry. And it says, yes, you are living. You are living, so do something about it. I like that. That's pretty good. So I like that. I might use that if you don't mind, David. You are living, so do something about it. Very good. Fantastic. Okay, thank you for all the good wishes. Thank you. Good. So what we've given you here really is a snapshot. It's a full day of what we teach you, and we start off, and there's no filler, because we don't have time for the filler. It's full on from 9 o'clock onwards. If you get there at 9:10, you'll miss 10 minutes of content. If you get there at 10 o'clock, you'll miss an hour of very valuable content. That's for sure. Okay, yeah, so the link should still be on the right. You can see that in there. You can see the apartment, photo of the apartment, property cash flow, 2-for-1 special offer. And it says click the green button below to book. It looks more blue to me. And it says invest in your future. So that's the one to click. Okay, good. You got it now. Okay, good. Fantastic. Excellent. Okay. If I'm working full time, would this be suitable for me? It's completely up to you. We have many people, actually most of our students are initially working full time. And they take this on to go and quit their job. We had one student who went away, who had a holiday for 2 weeks. He had a holiday booked in Spain for 2 weeks, and with his family. He sent his family on holiday. He took that 2 weeks for his wife wasn't happy. He wasn't happy to have to go away from his kids, but he said, this is the last time I'm going to actually do this to my kids. And he's turned around. He's got like 9 properties now within 6 months. And we have Lukash as well. Lukash, I think he got within 6 months like 25 units. And he's left his day job as well. So we've got loads of stories like that, but I don't want to bore you with those. So listen, I'm going to say thank you very much. Awesome. Thank you. Thank you too. Thank you. Thank you. And once again, that link will last for a couple of hours. There is a replay as well that will be sent out to you. So if you've missed any of the information, some of you have come on a bit late, then you'll be able to watch that as well. So thank you very much. I hope that gives you a good insight to cash flow from property using service accommodation and rent to rent. And I look forward to seeing those who have booked at the end of the month. Thank you and good evening.